People love to tell you that you can't make money from Airbnb if you don't own the property. They will say it with such confidence as well. Right? It's not possible. You have to own it. It's too good to be true. Well, ladies and gents, I'm here to tell you they're wrong. And today, I'm going to prove it to you. Not with hype. I'm going to prove it using a business that you already know. A business that you can walk past on your high street right now every single day. And a business that nobody, not one person ever questions. So stay with me, because after this, you will never doubt again. Now look, I'm going to be honest with you. For years, I never argued with the doubters. Like when I was building my business, someone would say, that can't be real. And I'll just smile and move on, because I wasn't interested in convincing anyone back then. I was interested in getting an edge on the market and scaling my portfolio quietly. In Nigeria, we say, Jeje, but I'm in a different phase now. This is my helping phase. So today, I'm going to pull the curtain back and reveal exactly why this idea is not even new. I'm going to show you the decades-old business model that this was actually built on. And I'm going to show you why right now is the best time in this country's history to do this. And I'll also show you the shape of how it actually works. By the end, the myth is going to be dead for good. Let's go. So let's start with the myth itself. The belief goes like this. To make money from property, you have to own it. To run an Airbnb business, the house has to be yours. You have to rent it. You know, your name on the deeds, your mortgage, your deposit, rent, all that sort of stuff. And because most people can't afford to buy a property, they decide that this whole world is closed to them. They count themselves out before they even start. And look, I get why. Like, it sounds too good. You mean I can run a property and profit from it without buying it? Like, it feels like there must be a catch, like it's some clever new trick that's going to get shut down soon. So people stay stuck watching from the sidelines, thinking they need £50,000 and a mortgage just to begin. So I want to be fair to them, because I understand exactly where that belief comes from. We've all been taught one story about property. You save up for years, you scrape a deposit together, you beg a bank for a mortgage, and you buy one property. And maybe a decade later, you can buy another one. That's the only path that most people have ever seen. So when someone tells them there's another way, a way in without the deposit, without the mortgage, without owning anything, without even renting, their brain says, you must be joking. It sounds like one of those get rich quick schemes, and they've been burned by those before. So I don't blame anyone for being skeptical. In fact, in this day and age, skeptical is healthy. But being skeptical should make you ask questions, not slam the door shut. So let's answer those questions properly today. And here's the thing, there is no catch, and this is not a new trick at all. In fact, the exact model that this is built on has been running in this country and across the world for decades, openly on every high street, and nobody bats an eyelid. So let me show you. Letting agents. There are tens of thousands of them up and down this country. You've walked past them 100 times, and no one, not a single person, questions their business model, because it would be a bit crazy to. Like, we all know they exist. We all know what they do. But for anyone who's never really thought about it, let me break down exactly how a letting agent works, because this matters. Now, quick bit of background for you. I actually started my property journey as a letting agent, so I know this model from the inside. I sat in that office. I took the calls from landlords. I found the tenants. I arranged the plumbers and the gas engineers. I saw with my own eyes exactly how the whole thing works. And I saw something else too. I saw how much money was quietly changing hands. Landlords happily paying a percentage month after month, just so they didn't have to think about their property. And that stuck with me, because I realized the real value wasn't in owning the bricks. The real value was in running the operation, in solving the headache for the landlord. The person who solves the headache gets paid. Whether they own the property or not is irrelevant. I want you to hold on to that, because this is the key to this whole thing, right? And here's how it goes. A landlord owns the property. They go to a letting agent and they say, you're the experts. You know how to find tenants and how to manage them. Here's my property. I want you to manage it for me. Think about what that actually means. Number one, find me tenants, get good people into my property. Number two, manage the day-to-day. If there's a boiler issue, an electrical fault, something that needs a handyman, you handle it. I don't want to be getting calls at 10 o'clock at night about a broken boiler. You sort it, you send the plumber, you get it fixed, and then you just send me the bill. I'm happy to pay that. This is the landlord speaking now. And then the landlord just clears that bill because it's their property, it's their tenant, but they don't want the day-to-day headache. So for doing all of that, finding the tenants, placing them, handling the issues every single month, when the rent comes in, the letting agent takes an agreed percentage, and then the rest sent to the landlord. That's the model, and it's been running for decades. Now let me ask you something. When was the last time you spoke to your landlord? Do you even know what your landlord looks like? For a lot of you, the answer to that question is no, because you deal with the agent. The agent runs everything. The landlord is invisible. And think about what the landlord actually gets out of that deal. Well, the property looked after, the tenant hassle taken completely off their plate, someone professional handling every problem that comes up, and in return, they happily give up a slice of the rent every single month for as long as the property runs. And they're not upset about that. They are relieved, because the alternative is them getting the call about the boiler at 10 p.m. at night, them chasing the plumber, them dealing with the tenant, them doing all of that. So let's be really clear about what we've just established. Paying someone a percentage to run your property for you is not some strange new idea. It's one of the most normal, most trusted arrangements in this entire country, in business in general. You already believe in it. You've just never thought about it quite like this before. That is a completely normal, completely accepted business. Nobody calls it too good to be true. Nobody says the agent doesn't deserve that money. They earn it by taking the whole headache off the landlord's plate. So I want you to hold that thought. So now the penny drops, because here's what we've done. We've taken that exact letting agent model, the one that nobody questions, and we've simply emulated it in the short-term rental Airbnb space. That's it. That's the whole secret. Same idea. A landlord has a property, they don't want the headache, we take it on, we run it as an Airbnb, and we share the profits. Nobody's being treated. Nobody's being taken advantage of. The landlord chooses this willingly because it's better for them. As an Airbnb, they get more money if the property's in the right area and none of the stress. It's a fair deal that makes sense for both sides. That's why it works, and that's why it keeps working. The only difference is, instead of a long-term tenant, we run it as a short-term let, an Airbnb. And because it runs as an Airbnb, in the right area, that property can make a lot more than it ever would on a normal let. So the landlord wins bigger because they make more money, and so do we. It's the same trusted model that you've known your whole life, just applied to a more profitable channel. That's why when someone tells you it's not possible, you can just smile, because you know it's not only possible, it's been normal for decades. So now, why short-term let instead of the normal let? Well, it's simple. It comes down to money. A normal tenant pays you one fixed rent each month, but that same property run as an Airbnb in the right area can be booked night after night after night, often at a much higher rate. So the pie gets way bigger, typically double or triple, which means the landlord can earn more than the old rent, and there's still plenty left over for the person running it. That's the whole reason this works for everyone involved. Bigger pie, everyone fills up. And right now, this thing is absolutely blown up, because it also happens to be the best time in the UK has ever seen to do this exact model. Let me show you why. Here's what's happening in the UK market right now. Landlords are struggling, and I mean really struggling. First, the money side. A lot of landlords took out cheap fixed mortgages years ago. Those deals have ended, and they've come off them onto rates that are far, far higher. For some, the rent barely covers the mortgage now. That's not a tiny squeeze. That is a real financial difficulty. Think about that for a second. Someone who was paying, say, £600 a month on their mortgage a few years ago could now be paying £1,000, maybe £1,100 for the exact same mortgage. The rent hasn't jumped up by anywhere near that much. So the gap that used to be their profit has now been eaten up. So for a lot of landlords, a property that used to actually make them money now barely breaks even. And for some of them, they're actually losing money every month. Just think about that. They're losing money. Then on top of that, the government stepped in. You guys may have heard of this, the Renters' Rights Act. That came into force this year, May 1st, 2026. And if you don't know what that is, it's a big deal. Section 21, the so-called no-fault eviction is gone. Fixed-term tenancies, as we know them, they're gone. It's tightened the screws on landlords right across the country, and it's got a lot of them genuinely scared. I know. I talk to them every single day. Like, how bad is it? Well, let's look at the numbers. A recent survey from Rightmove found that 50% of landlords are now considering selling at least one of the property. 50%! Half of landlords in the whole country. And it shows in the real market as well. Rightmove's own data shows the share of homes for sale that used to be rentals is now at a record high. Nearly a third of them in London specifically. Guys, this is crazy. That tells you something. Landlords are running for the exit. That's a lot of nervous landlords looking for a way out of the headache. And here's the part that should actually excite you. Most of these landlords think they only have two options. Option one is to sell up, like take the hit, walk away from an asset that they've spent years building. And option two is grit their teeth and just keep bleeding money every single month. They don't realize there's a third option. They don't know that someone can come along, run their property as a short-term let, and turn a losing asset back into a winning one. Like, they are desperate for a solution they don't even know exists yet. And that is exactly where you come in. Because you can walk up to that landlord and offer them a different path. You say, hey, my friend, don't sell. Don't fight these new rules. Don't worry. Let me take your property. Let me run you as an Airbnb. If this property is in the right area, we can often generate double, sometimes triple the revenue compared to a traditional let. You never deal with a tenant issue again. And you sidestep these new government regulations entirely. For a landlord who is squeezed, who is scared, that's not a hard sell. You're literally giving them a lifeline. But here's how you keep it honest. Like, when you talk to that landlord, you don't promise them the world. You just tell them the truth. You say, look, I can't promise you anything yet. Like, this is a numbers business. Let me analyze your property first. If it's in the right area and the numbers actually work, then we can talk. And if they don't, I'll just be honest with you and tell you these numbers don't work. That honesty is exactly what wins them over, because they've been burned by smooth talkers before. And you're the first person who said, let me actually check first. This might not work. But look at the timing of all of this together. Landlords are squeezed on their mortgages. Landlords are scared of the new regulations that have come in. Landlords are sat on the property that's literally turning into a burden. And here you come, not to buy it, not to take it off them, but just to run it. Make it earn more money and make it a completely hand-free income for them. There has never been a better moment to walk up to a landlord with this offer than right now. That's why this has exploded. The model is proven and the timing has never been better. For once in your life, you are at the start of the trajectory. So you might be thinking, okay, I believe you, Ibrahim, but how do I actually do this? Well, let me just give you the shape of this. Well, first, you need to set up properly. A simple company, the right insurance, the basic compliance. Like, it's not complicated and it shouldn't take you weeks to do that. I've actually got a full video that walks you through setting up your business step by step. I'm going to link that below for you. Second, you find your landlords. And you already know I don't want you chasing them one by one. You go to the people who already have them, your network. And right now, they're everywhere. Half the landlords in the country are looking for a way out. That's according to Rightmove. So the people that you need are practically, they're like, I'm here. You just have to know where to actually stand to see them. I did a full video on exactly how to do that too. So just go check that video out after this. Now, third, you have the conversation. You meet the landlord's pain. You stay honest. You tell them, you analyze the property first because it's a data business and you don't promise what you can't prove. And fourth, if the numbers work, you agree the split and you take over. You run the whole thing. The listing, the gas, the check-ins, the cleaning, the maintenance. They do not lift one finger. They just get paid. Now, running it sounds like a lot, but most of it is just systems. You set up automated guest messages, automated pricing, a cleaner who gets booked in the moment a guest actually checks out. It's all automated. So you're not sat there all day answering messages. You build all these systems once and it just largely runs itself. Like, that's how people run several of these properties at the same time without it becoming a second full-time job. I know what some of you are still thinking. Is this even allowed? Yes. The landlord still owns the property. It's their decision to let you run it. They check their own side, like their mortgage, their buildings rules, just like they would with any letting agent. And you simply just run the business side of it. It's the exact same arrangement letting agents have used for decades, ladies and gents. There's nothing shady, it's nothing new. That's the model. You set up, you find the landlord, you have an honest conversation, you run the property, and you share the profit. None of it requires you to own a single brick. Just like a letting agent never owns the homes that they manage. So let's kill this myth once and for all. You do not need to own property to build a real income from Airbnb. The proof is on every single high street. Tens of thousands of letting agents run this exact model up and down the country without owning a single thing. We've just moved it into the Airbnb space, and when doing it at the best possible time while landlords are literally crying out for a way out. So if you've been sitting there counting yourself out thinking this world wasn't for you because you can't buy a property, I need you to hear this. That was never true. You don't need a deposit, you don't need a mortgage, you don't need to own a single brick, you don't even need to rent the property. You need to understand this proven model. Find a landlord who needs your help and run the property well. Like, that's it. The door that you thought was locked was never locked. You just hadn't been shown the handle. Guys, if you want the full step-by-step from setting up to landing your first landlord, I've put it all together in my free 30-day Airbnb launch plan. You know how to set up your name, set up the business, the location, and how to secure that first deal with a full week-by-week plan inside. The link again is in the description below. And look, and if this has opened your eyes, just do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Guys, I'm putting out 2 videos every single week on building a real Airbnb business here in the UK. So here's what I want you to take away today. The next time someone tells you this is impossible, don't argue with them. I didn't do it for the first 5 years. You just need to remember the letting agents on your high street. The proof has been sitting there in plain sight your whole life. And know that people up and down the country are doing this right now. Whether you join or you don't join, people are doing it. You can probably see it yourself. Now go out there and prove those doubters wrong, ladies and gents. The future is now in your hands. No more excuses. Onwards and upwards, and I'll see you in the next video.